She signed her name to a document that erased everything she had ever built. The number was 0. Every account, every asset, every shred of financial identity, gone in a single courthouse filing. Have you ever looked at your life and wondered what would be left if the floor gave out completely? Not a bad month, not a rough year, everything. Stay with this story, because what happened next, over the following 10 years, in silence, without anyone watching, is one of the most extraordinary financial recoveries you will ever hear. And it begins with a word nobody wants to say out loud: bankrupt. Her name was Vanessa. She was 34 years old, living in Charlotte, North Carolina, working as an office manager for a mid-sized logistics company she had been loyal to for 9 years. She was not rich, she was not reckless. She was careful, the kind of person who kept a budget in a spiral notebook and called her mother every Sunday without fail. Vanessa had built a life that looked exactly like the one she had planned. A house she shared with her husband, a savings account with $8,000 in it, not a fortune, but hers. A marriage she believed in. She had turned down 2 better-paying jobs over the years because she valued stability over ambition, and she thought that was wisdom. The marriage started cracking in year 6. By year 7, the cracks had become walls. Her husband moved out in January. By March, Vanessa discovered that what she thought was a shared financial life had been, in reality, a fiction. Joint credit cards she had never used now carried balances she had never authorized. A second car loan, a line of credit against the house. He had been spending for years on expenses she could not trace and would not understand until much later. The divorce cost her the house. The legal fees cost her the savings. The debt he left behind, $41,000 of it in her name, cost her everything else. She hired the only attorney she could still afford, and that attorney told her the same thing every week for 2 months until she finally stopped arguing. The cleanest path forward was a Chapter 7 filing. Vanessa sat in her car in the parking lot of a Walmart for 45 minutes after that conversation. She did not cry. She drove home. She made dinner. She did not tell her mother. She did not tell her coworkers. She did not tell anyone. The filing was approved on a Wednesday in September. The next day, she went back to work, and nobody knew.
The first thing bankruptcy takes is not money. It is permission. Permission to plan. Permission to dream. Permission to walk into a bank and be taken seriously. Vanessa understood this the first time she applied for a secured credit card, the kind designed specifically for people rebuilding, and was declined. She applied again. Declined. The third application, for a card with a $200 limit, was approved. She used it to buy groceries. She paid it off the same week. She did this for 4 months before anything changed on her credit report. 4 months of buying bread and milk on credit and paying it off with the same money she had already spent, a ritual that felt more like penance than progress. The apartment she moved into after the divorce cost $640 a month. It had 1 bedroom, a parking space, and a neighbor who played television at volume until midnight. She worked 50-hour weeks to keep from thinking. On weekends, she read, not novels, not anything comforting, but real estate books, library copies, highlighted in pencil so she could erase the marks and return them without damage. She was not sure yet why she was reading them. She just knew she needed to understand something bigger than her current situation. 6 months after the filing, her credit score sat at 498. The number felt like a verdict. She had been a person who paid every bill on time, who never carried a balance, who had done everything right, and the system had assigned her a number that said she was not trustworthy. The $41,000 her ex-husband had left in her name had been discharged in the bankruptcy, but the credit report did not care about the why. It only recorded the what. Her co-workers went out for drinks on Fridays. Vanessa went home. She packed a lunch every day. She canceled every subscription except the internet because she needed it to research. The shame of the filing sat on her chest like a stone. She described it later, in the one interview she ever gave, as the kind of quiet that is actually very loud inside. She did not want sympathy. She did not want advice. She wanted a plan. What she had in front of her at 34 years old, with a 498 credit score and $214 in a checking account, was the most dangerous combination of conditions a person can face: complete humiliation and complete clarity. She picked up a pencil. She opened a notebook. She wrote one sentence at the top of the first page: "In 10 years, I will own property." Winter came. The apartment was cold in the way old buildings are cold, not dramatically, just persistently. Vanessa wore a sweater indoors. She kept the thermostat at 62. She made soup on Sundays and ate it through the week. She called her mother every Sunday. She never mentioned money. Her mother asked once if everything was okay, and Vanessa said yes. The word came out steady. She had practiced steadiness so long by then that it no longer required effort. It was just what she did. She held it together and did not let anyone see the holding. Sleep was the hardest part. She would lie awake calculating. Not panicking, calculating. Running numbers in her head that never quite added up to anything fast enough. She knew the math worked in the long run. She had read enough to believe that. But belief and sleep are not the same thing, and there were nights when she lay staring at the ceiling of that cold apartment, listening to her neighbor's television through the wall, wondering if she had already missed the window that every story like hers seemed to depend on. She had not missed it. She did not know that yet. On a Thursday in February, 16 months after the filing, Vanessa sat down at her kitchen table, opened her laptop, and looked at her credit score for the first time in 3 months. It had climbed to 601. Not good, not close to good, but no longer in free fall. Something in her chest shifted. It was not excitement. It was colder than that and steadier. It was the feeling of a foundation being poured 1 inch at a time in the dark where nobody could see it. She had nothing left, but she finally knew exactly where she was standing.
The plan was not complicated, it was just slow. Vanessa gave herself a 10-year window because she had read enough to know that rushing real estate with damaged credit was how people ended up worse than they started. She was not in a hurry. She was in a war, and wars are won by people who do not run out of supplies. First came the credit. She used a secured card, then a second secured card, then a store card she never carried a balance on. Every month, on-time payments. Every month, the score moved, sometimes by 20 points, sometimes by 4. She tracked it on a spreadsheet she kept on her laptop desktop and updated on the first of every month. By month 18, the score crossed 650. By month 24, it was at 690. She got a raise at work and did not change a single thing about her life. The extra $112 a week went directly into a savings account she named, in the spreadsheet only, never out loud, the foundation account. She worked overtime when it was offered. She sold furniture she didn't need on Facebook Marketplace. She became, quietly and without ceremony, one of the most financially disciplined people in any room she entered, and nobody in any of those rooms had any idea. Then came the setback. In year 3, her car died. The repair estimate was $2,800, more than 2 months of savings contributions. She sat in the mechanic's parking lot and felt the familiar pull of defeat. She considered, for the first time since that Walmart parking lot, whether she was building something real or just performing the motions of building. She paid the repair bill. She pushed her property timeline back by 4 months and did not let herself grieve the delay for more than one evening. 5 years after the bankruptcy filing, Vanessa's credit score reached 741. Her foundation account held $18,500. She went to a credit union, not a big bank, a credit union, on the advice of a real estate book she had read twice, and applied for a mortgage on a duplex in a neighborhood 12 minutes from where she worked. The duplex cost $114,000. Her down payment was $17,000. The loan was approved. She did not tell anyone. She signed the paperwork on a Tuesday. She drove past the building on the way home. Then she went home and made soup. The first tenant moved in within 3 weeks. The rent covered the mortgage with $340 left over each month. Vanessa put that $340 directly into the foundation account and did not touch it. By year 7, the account had grown to $31,000, rebuilt and expanded by rental income that arrived while she slept. The second property came in year 7, a single-family home, $127,000, similar structure. Then a third in year 8, a small multifamily unit she bought at a foreclosure auction for $89,000, a number she had found only because she had spent 6 months attending those auctions just to learn how they worked before ever raising her hand to bid. By the time Vanessa turned 44, she owned 5 properties. Combined value, $612,000. Combined equity after mortgages, just over $200,000. Monthly rental income, $4,100. Her credit score, 788. Her foundation account balance, $47,000 in cash. The salary from the job she had never quit, and the absolute certainty, not arrogance, not performance, just certainty that she had built something that could not be taken from her. She told her mother on her 44th birthday. Her mother cried. Vanessa did not. She had used up whatever she had for crying a long time ago in a cold apartment next to a thermostat set to 62 degrees. What she felt instead, sitting across from her mother at a dinner table she now owned, was something quieter and heavier and better than happiness. She felt finished.
Here is the one thing this story is really about. Not real estate, not credit scores, not the specific numbers, though the numbers matter. The real lesson is this: shame is a spending problem in disguise. Every month Vanessa kept her situation quiet. She had 2 choices: spend her energy managing how people saw her, or spend it building something they couldn't see yet. She chose the second one. That choice, made over and over in rooms nobody else entered, is the entire story. If you are carrying something right now that you haven't told anyone about, a number, a mistake, a filing, a debt, here is the most practical thing Vanessa's story offers you. Write the 10-year sentence. Not a goal board, not a vision, one sentence. In 10 years, I will own something. Fill in what that something is. Date it. Put it somewhere you will see it. The sentence does not fix the situation, but it gives the situation a direction, and direction is what shame is designed to take away from you. Most people who watched Vanessa over those 10 years thought she was simply quiet, private, a little serious. They had no idea that the woman making soup on Sundays and tracking credit scores on a laptop desktop was executing one of the most methodical financial rebuilds they would ever be standing next to. She was not lucky. She was not gifted. She was just unwilling to let one Wednesday in September be the last sentence of her story. Neither are you. This is The Money Signals, a new story every week. If this one stayed with you, you know what to do.